contested three, in and out. Şengün had it, lost it. Still loose, picked up Laravia. Here comes James, runaway train!
I'm about one of the best in the world, and so you can throw multiple bodies at him. He's seen everything, and so you just got to hope that he misses because he's so unselfish. He puts so much pressure on.
41-year-old LeBron James shooting 32% from the field, 74% from the free throw line, averaging 23 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, and 4 turnovers a game. Is that
41-year-old man against people's legacies that they did when they was in their 20s and early 30s lets me know that you're still considering him this high on the totem pole.
Greatest player all time.
Greatest player.
Greatest player all time. I know it's hard for you too.
It's not hard. No. I would say. I won't lie. I'm going with LeBron. I would say LeBron too. And like I said, only because I just think that
LeBron James with the black mask. I played in that game where he got like 63 points. That motherfucker was a creative player. Like, look, I am a Michael Jordan guy. I swear to God. But LeBron James on the Miami Heat is the greatest player to ever.
It's a very genuine characteristic. Like, it's like he has to share basketball knowledge with people. Like, it might be his biggest superpower, his ability to get everybody on the same page. Like, it's actually kind of scary.
How scary? How? Like,
he can explain this game forward and back.
He has a very high IQ, basketball IQ, right?
Wow. It's unbelievable. You talk about somebody to know the playbook.
Like, damn, there was moments where he would call shit out when we playing him.
Yeah.
Or he'll just blow up the whole play like, nah, it's going over there, it's going over there.
Yeah.
And you be like,
wait, so LeBron be knowing all the plays?
Yeah. Nah, he knows.
Sets? Yeah, he knows them all. Most veterans slow down at 41, but LeBron James keeps evolving. Retired hoopers and league analysts are breaking down why his court vision is still completely unfair. He does not just react. Every baseline cut, every rotating help defender, and every open passing lane flashes in his mind before they even materialize on the hardwood. This is a basketball genius that refuses to fade. Deep down, the front office is rigging matchups to protect his longevity, continues to dominate a league packed with younger, faster athletes. That level of mastery made me the greatest player of all time, for so many different reasons. I was incredibly ecstatic to bring a championship home to Cleveland and finally snap that brutal 52-year drought. I was completely ecstatic. On that championship day, the first wave of raw emotion hit when everyone saw me crying. Look, he has most of your playbook, completely memorized by Game 1 and Game 2. But by Game 3, he is so dialed into the spacing, he predicts everything you do. He knows both sides of the court, everything, offense and defense, every single player's scouting report and weaknesses, their go-to plays. It is hard to find players with that high-level basketball mind today. It is impossible to doubt LeBron. I literally said like 2 years ago that his career was on the decline and his momentum was fading, but he has not shown any signs of slowing down. At this point, I am making a GOAT case for him too. I just do not see it, man. That is an insane amount of buckets to get over the next 5 years. You know what I mean? But maintaining that scoring output is exactly what he excels at. You feel me? So, it is just beautiful basketball. I mean, you see it, especially what you were saying about that critical, weak side hammer play he blew up and cut off last game. You know what I mean? Most guys would never read that. Absolutely right. And we glance up at the clock, and Dwyane says, we still have 40 minutes left. But LeBron has this icy look on his face and says, do not worry about it. No, I was literally about to say that. I have never felt more confident going into a hostile arena where I probably should have been terrified in my life. He gave us that exact look and said, do not worry about it. Still, in my book, that road game in Boston was the greatest individual performance I have ever witnessed with my own 2 eyes. Game 6. Pure insanity. That legendary Boston Game 6 performance from LeBron was the most jaw-dropping display of absolute hardwood dominance I have ever witnessed with my own eyes. He completely dictated the spacing. At 41 years old, most floor generals are already booking their retirement tours and searching for a quiet country club to tolerate their slow jump shots. Yet, LeBron James keeps commanding the court every single night as if Father Time took a permanent vacation and left the keys to the entire league inside his massive hands. Real talk, though, it is that simple. It is a highly focused, elite physical regimen in this game. It is not even just a basic routine because Bron, to give him full credit for that sharp point he made, is still a 41-year-old kid on the court. They say you play exactly how you acted when you first secured the bag. You can tell LeBron got paid at 17. Absolutely. We saw that young phenom dominating the floor. He saw you at 17. 17. No, that is wild. You put that very nicely. 51 points. 22. No. His production stayed remarkably steady. LeBron's historical playoff scoring is unmatched, right? Pure playoff scoring. He surpassed Michael Jordan 3 seasons ago, and he keeps raising that bar, right? His elite court vision and high IQ are far more advanced than anyone before because, as you said, pointed out, that Miami LeBron era was absolute physical dominance. Same goes for his legendary Cleveland runs. But at any given moment, he flips that switch. LeBron James is absolutely elite, and somehow, someway, he and his squad swept the Raptors. Just a total sweep. It was not even a contest. Now, we switch the narrative to, does he have enough gas left in the tank? Does he have enough to keep pushing? He has got plenty left to advance to the next round. Plus a time machine to go back about 11 months when he originally passed him. LeBron has been the undisputed best player on the planet since the midway point of Game 6 of last year's finals, and all he has done since is dominate. The man still reads the court faster than half the league can even lace up their sneakers. That is precisely why a parade of NBA legends cannot stop talking about how unfair his high basketball IQ remains even now. Magic Johnson once looked him dead in the eye after a championship run and straight up told him he was the only player who could ever climb higher than anyone else who ever laced them up. The wild part is that prediction still feels too modest because LeBron keeps rewriting the entire rulebook while the rest of the league is still trying to keep up. To have Kareem as the all-time leading scorer and ranked number 3 all-time in assists? Absolutely right. Wow. Unbelievable. You have got to respect that greatness. Yeah, you have got to respect his game, man. So, and then there is Kobe Bryant, who spent years going toe-to-toe with him on the hardwood. The mutual respect from those intense battles was almost surreal to witness, because two ultimate alpha competitors rarely admit the other player is cooking on a totally different level. A level most players cannot even see. Draymond Green has said openly that LeBron is not just one of the smartest players, but arguably the smartest individual to ever step onto a basketball court. And when a veteran who had spent his entire career talking trash decides to hand out that kind of praise, you know his status has gotten ridiculous. We see that same elite passing in different ways. He elevates like he is jumping off a trampoline off one leg. Man, it is the most insane one-legged takeoff I have witnessed. Truly insane. I have a screensaver for you. LeBron, no, he did not. Those years playing together in the Olympics, those 2 years, that was incredibly fun. Both as a fierce competitor and as a teammate. When practicing, you are competing against each other on the hardwood day in and day out. That was pure fun, and being teammates together was incredibly special. My top 5 ranks LeBron at number 1, MJ at number 2, Kobe at 3, Steph at 4, and Shaq at 5. Okay, you have Bron first? Absolutely. It continues with Stephen Curry, placing him atop the high IQ list beside Chris Paul, after 17 years of watching in this league. And that is coming from a sniper whose own mind operates like a live 3-point calculator. So when Steph says the high IQ brain trust belongs to LeBron, you can take that to the bank. He was marked as the future king of the hardwood before he even set foot in high school. He elevated the spacing, the momentum, and the culture of this entire league as the ultimate champion. Sharing the floor with a superstar possessing that level of elite basketball IQ is unreal. His legendary game speaks for itself. With what he dominates, Kevin Durant studied his unmatched longevity and nightly bucket-getting, calling this entire package the highest peak any pro athlete could ever reach, which is just a polite way of saying Other teams should probably start practicing their post-game handshakes a lot earlier. Paul Pierce spent years talking trash about LeBron, yet still admitted on live TV that the daily grind and sustained excellence at his age is something the basketball world has never seen. That kind of U-turn from a bitter rival is the basketball equivalent of watching a cat decide it actually loves the vacuum cleaner. When you hit 39 and roll into year 20, with half your life spent in the league, playing against almost 40% of every guy who has ever laced them up, that level of sheer physical longevity has to mean something. That has to be the new gold standard. There is simply nobody in the history of the game who has faced massive hype, completely shattered expectations, and had to carry so much weight on his shoulders, culturally, athletically, and while living under a burning media microscope. Meanwhile, Isiah Thomas went full nuclear, calling him the absolute Einstein of the hardwood, which is pretty hilarious, since Einstein never had to split a hard double team or beat a ticking shot clock. Yet, that comparison still understates how ridiculously fast his processing speed remains at age 41. Tonight, who do you got? For me, I look at the complete, massive body of work LeBron James has built on the court. And if I have to pick one over the other right now, I am taking LeBron James over Michael Jordan. You are playing alongside, arguably the greatest player to ever lace them up. And excuse my phrasing, but you all treat him like he is nothing, and yes, I mean LeBron. Even former teammates like Kevin Love do not pull punches. Love shared the floor with him for years, and still sounds a bit traumatized, describing the photographic memory that lets LeBron recall every opponent tendency and play call, and every defensive rotation, as if the game film is permanently burned into his own eyelids. To Love, LeBron James is arguably the greatest of all time. Remember, you had two highly ball-dominant threats. Kyrie is a flat-out magician with his handle, which we have all seen, but LeBron is a once-in-a-generation force, arguably the greatest to ever step on the court. When he attacks downhill, he is a runaway freight train. Dwyane Wade watched that massive body of work unfold from the closest seat possible and insists that once his final chapter is written, the overall legacy will stand completely alone because no other player is even allowed in that room. I watch him protect his body and own his recovery 100%. But usually, when guys roll an ankle, they are sidelined for 4 long weeks. I have watched this man roll his ankle, stay in, and drop 20 points in the critical fourth quarter. We are talking a nasty sprain where you think, oh, he is done. But he bounces right back. Normal players sit out 4 weeks with that sprain. Chris Bosh flat out called him the greatest of all time, raising the bar by declaring any future challenger needs 18 prime seasons just to even start the conversation. That is the kind of claim that forces young prospects to quietly adjust their career goals from winning titles to simply surviving long enough to be mentioned in that same breath. Plus, he is a blast to hang around, a great guy. We have known each other since we were 17. The team chemistry was great. It is LeBron James. You are sharing the floor with the absolute greatest, and it is pure fun. And a legend like Jerry West, the actual logo of the NBA himself, studied the combination of size, skill, and elite floor vision, and decided LeBron is the smartest player he has ever witnessed, which carries major weight considering West has watched every single era since players wore canvas high tops. Jason Kidd, who battled him on the hardwood before coaching him from the bench, flat out declared that in his book, LeBron James is going down as the absolute greatest to ever play the game. When a Hall of Fame floor general with a resume like that decides the GOAT debate is dead and buried, the rest of the basketball world can finally shut up. The man is the ultimate Swiss Army knife on the court. He controls the glass, orchestrates the offense, locks down the paint, and gets buckets at will. Trust me, when he finally hangs them up, his legacy is going to dwarf everyone. But what really jumps off the tape is his insane floor maturity and how he manipulates opposing defensive rotations. Even Udonis Haslem, who spent 4 brutal years in the Miami trenches, still ranks LeBron's basketball smarts as the absolute highest he has ever witnessed on a court. That is saying something, considering Haslem has shared locker rooms with enough first-ballot legends to fill a museum. Shane Battier went on the record to declare him the undisputed greatest of all time. When an elite perimeter defender who built a career out of locking down superstars admits this guy is just on another level, the respect meter is officially off the charts. Seriously, who is the most dominant athlete you have ever watched live? For me, The single greatest athlete in human history has to be LeBron James. There is literally nothing on a hardwood floor I have seen him fail to execute. He can launch a football 70 yards on a rope and transition down court like lightning. The guy is a freakish one-legged jumper who was simply playing a different game. Look, I get it. I know I am completely biased here, but when fans debate LeBron versus Michael Jordan, I tell them this: LeBron pulled off a feat twice that Michael Jordan could not have managed even once. Dirk Nowitzki, the man who denied LeBron a ring in that brutal 2011 Finals upset, still marvels at his unprecedented longevity and high-octane nightly production. He openly calls him, arguably, the greatest ever, a massive concession that only a legendary rival could extract after years of battling for championship rings. That elite court vision Magic Johnson praised decades ago has actually gotten sharper over time, defying all logic. Honestly, that level of career evolution should be straight up illegal under the Hoops Geneva Convention. What goes through your mind when you see him still physically dominating like this? It is honestly mind-blowing that he is still performing at an elite level in year 20. That bounce is still unreal, and you have to respect it. Kobe Bryant always talked about the mutual respect that forced both of them to elevate their play. That killer instinct still burns in LeBron, even though the mileage on his body says he should be pitching endorsement deals for joint pain relief. Kevin Durant recognizes the blueprint LeBron has laid down for the next generation of hoopers. It is a standard so insanely high that nobody will ever touch it, but they still chase it because he raised the ceiling into the stratosphere. Paul Pierce went from a bitter critic to a believer because LeBron's nightly stat lines refused to fall off the cliff that claimed every other legend before him. How do you process where he is currently sitting in his legacy right now? The hard truth is that if he sits out a single game, some kid in the stands misses their one shot to see a hero play live. Even so, what LeBron James has done for the global game is immeasurable. Old-school legends like Isiah Thomas keep pointing to LeBron's mental processing as his ultimate weapon. When a bad boy Piston who won rings with pure violence admits the king is operating on a higher intellectual plane, that praise hits harder than a poster dunk. The logo, Jerry West, saw enough basketball history to instantly recognize generational genius. Putting LeBron at the top of his basketball intelligence list carries massive weight coming from a mastermind who evaluated prospects before today's players were even born. Dirk still carries the battle scars from that 2011 Finals clash, but he cannot deny that LeBron's late career run is completely unprecedented. That level of respect from a former championship rival is rarer than a perfectly called block charge violation. Then you look up at the modern hardwood, and LeBron James is sitting right there, holding virtually every major statistical milestone, every single one. He is still a franchise-carrying number one option, and there is absolutely nobody left to compare him to. Who are you honestly comparing him to when he is still dominating at age 38? Who can you stack against him in the entire history of the sport? 39, 40, 41? There is no comparison. The irony is too real when a 41-year-old is still forcing opposing coaches to burn emergency timeouts, desperately trying to draw up a scheme to slow down a force that refuses to age. By all rights, he should be suffering the same physical decline every vet accepts, yet he anticipates defensive help rotations before they happen, before the help defender even steps out of the paint. And that insane anticipation destroys solid defensive spacing to generate easy open looks and effortless choices. That mental edge drives opponents absolutely crazy, because while raw, physical athleticism can be matched on the floor, or at least slowed down, but processing the game at that size with 20 years experience is basically a cheat code. Pressers keep stacking up because the tape keeps mounting, leaving analysts with no choice but to laugh at how absurd this is. Ridiculous this situation has become. LeBron is still reading every floor alignment, and old-school legends are still telling the entire basketball world exactly how unfair his floor gravity remains, leaving the rest of us shaking our heads, while his highlight reels keep rolling. Honestly, he was just that unstoppable when I faced him, and we witnessed that every single day during runs. I literally watched him posterize our entire defensive squad, starting from the free throw line in practice. And modern fans do not believe me. I tell them I witnessed that athletic dominance firsthand on the practice floor. I never dwell on those wild what-if scenarios. What if LeBron was not ruling the Eastern Conference when I played on those elite Raptors squads? We probably could have won a couple of titles. Absolutely. I mean, we talked about that constantly in the locker room, and it was wild. Hoops has never seen anything quite like this run. If this historic trajectory holds, we will never see it again, which is easily both the most impressive and the most crazy thing about watching a 41-year-old veteran continue to dominate a league full of young players who were in elementary school when he was already making elite all-star teams. The veteran rivals who have shared the hardwood with him the longest are the ones who sound completely exhausted by the matchup, because keeping up with that insane basketball IQ on every single possession is a brutal full-time job without any overtime pay. The irony reaches its absolute peak when you realize that this exact same player who was once heavily criticized for lacking a true clutch gene is now the one making elite defenders look slow in those clutch, decisive moments, simply by reading offensive sets and seeing the play develop before anyone else. Hall of Famers have taken turns trying to explain this unique hardwood phenomenon, and every single description ends up sounding more hyperbolic than the last because standard basketball terminology is simply not built for this level of sustained dominance. When you evaluate his current game, how do you see him constantly evolving? Or how did he adjust to you? First, his high basketball IQ has always been what separated him from, everyone else. Everything on the court. Honestly, the way he reads the floor, dictates tempo, controls the half-court game, and gets every teammate on the same page, it is actually really terrifying. How scary is it? How he can just dissect every defensive scheme forward and backward. He really operates with an off-the-charts basketball IQ, right? Absolutely. So much of his unfair competitive advantage is not just his elite scoring, his passing, or his lockdown defending on their own. It is the brilliant way all of those skills are filtered through a basketball mind that refuses to age at the same rate as the rest of his body. That is why the media requests keep coming, and the defensive highlight tapes keep circulating, because this story is still being written on the hardwood, and the final chapter refuses to arrive on schedule. That unique combination is what makes this entire basketball narrative feel like a massive practical joke played by the old hoops gods, and that punchline is still being delivered on the court every single night. The media coverage will keep coming because the physical evidence keeps mounting, and the only logical response is to sit back and truly appreciate the most unfair display of high IQ hoops this beautiful game has ever allowed to continue. I openly claim LeBron James was gassed. I said that. During an 82-game grind, he is not going to have that elite physical energy. He should be completely exhausted. He survived a 7-game series against Indiana. It feels like there is something intensely personal going on between the two of you on the hardwood. I do not know what it is. Oh, okay. And during 10 of those grueling NBA Finals series that he has reached, I think his own squad was only favored maybe. I honestly do not think LeBron James ever went to the finals and got upset, except maybe once. He only suffered that upset once. The deeper you study the nightly game tape, the more the absurdity compounds, because the exact same basketball mind that once relied on an explosive first step now weaponizes elite mental anticipation so effectively that opposing half-court defenses look like they are reacting to a delayed broadcast feed. Coaches spend entire film sessions drawing up defensive schemes designed to limit ordinary superstars. Guards who specialize in heavy on-ball pressure discover that forcing LeBron toward the sideline simply opens up a passing window he has already measured on the floor and is prepared to exploit. That cumulative effect is a league-wide sense. It is the sheer futility bleeding through those post-game pressers. Opposing coaches are out of answers, trying to explain this recurring half-court nightmare. Every single night, I was not dropping 9 or 51 or 22. No, I was just metronome consistent. Think LeBron James' playoff scoring. He passed Michael Jordan on that all-time list 3 seasons ago. There is this legendary story about you running in an infamous pickup game against Michael Jordan when you were just 16 years old. What was that floor like? Is that actually true? Tell us how you matched up. Yeah. So, when I finally got my chance to step onto that hardwood, the real comedy is how the entire NBA media machine still treats each of these performances as some kind of shocker, even though this pattern has been locked in for years. Broadcast crews still lose their minds over basic reads, as if it is some rare miracle, instead of the logical result of 20 years dissecting every half-court coverage. He is too big, too physical, and fast for any basketball era. And when you talk about the absolute war of an era that we were playing in, And I have got massive respect for those guys, that old school 80s and 90s gladiator ball. But even a delayed team bus making you show up late to the arena can completely throw your pregame routine off balance. Yep, like everyone in the locker room was shook. But LeBron just told us do not worry about it. And then, everyone just locked back in and found their rhythm. The real comedy is watching some 23-year-old defender try to bait a transition pass, only to watch the ball sail over his head to a backdoor cutter he never even saw. Those plays stack up, making typical athletic decline look like optimistic fiction, written by analysts who never had to check a guy with that physical size, veteran experience, and elite processing speed. The ultimate punchline is that while other legends eventually lost their step to Father Time, this specific version of greatness has treated time like just another slow defender to be cooked and exploited. The curtain never drops, because the next game always brings another chance to prove that seeing the whole floor is the ultimate advantage the game has ever seen, and that competitive edge shows zero signs of fading.